Okay, so the next thing in our list is going to be creating the news list. Right here, we're going to create this cards. So the first thing that we need to do, we need to go to home and create a kind of a widget or component for this. So I'm going to go right here and we're going to be starting. I'm going to say news and then list. This is going to be the name of my component. And we're going to pretty much take the same approach we did with the news slider. We're going to just call it and pass some props. We don't have this component just yet, and so we're going to be adding this. We're going to add it in the inside widgets because this could be a reusable component. And in real life, in the final application, we're going to reuse that component inside the main news. You know, this is the same card, but rendered with a different template. So we're going to reuse that. Okay, I'm going to go back. Of course, we get failed to compile. This component doesn't exist. So I'm going to create it right now. I'm going to go to widgets and I'm going to say, I'm going to make a right click and I'm going to create a new folder. And this one is going to be called news list. You know, again, makes sense. And inside here, I'm going to create a new file that is going to be called news and then list.js. Okay, so news list is going to be a class-based component. And we're going to be loading a few things. So I'm going to just try to import all the things we need at the beginning. So first we need to import React, and then we need to bring a component, just like that, component, then a space, and of course from React. We did this like a million times. What else? We're going to use transitions, the final one. If you see whenever we do load more news, we're going to bring more news, and of course we have this tiny transition. So we're going to bring we're going to use CSS transitions and transitions group because remember that we are rendering this from a list of items. So I'm going to say import just like this, and I'm going to bring CSS, then transitions, transition, not plural, then a comma and transition, and then group, just like that. And it's going to be we're going to import it from then React dash transition dash group, just like that. So, you know, looks nice, no mistake. Okay, what else? We're going to be using links. Whenever we click on a card, it's going to be a link and it's going to take us to the internal section. So we need to import link from React Router DOM, import, and then link from, and then React Router DOM. Okay, what else? We're going to be making a request to the database. So we're going to import and we're going to be using Axios. So it's Axios and then from and then Axios. Good. So we have pretty much all the things we need so far. So I'm going to create a class and it's going to be called news list, just like that. And extends and then component. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing, we're going to need a state, and this one is going to be equal to empty for now. So what else? We're going to need to return something. So we're going to be returning just a simple div. We're going to say render, open and close, and then return, open and close, and then we're going to put a div inside with, I don't know, hello, whatever. So then we need to export this class. So export default and then news list, just like that. Okay, so if I include this component inside the slider, inside home, we should be getting something at least. So I'm going to go right here and I'm going to say import, and then it's going to be called news list, and then from and / forward / it's going to be inside widgets / news list / and then news list. Okay, let's render. And okay, I'm getting an error message, cannot resolve React transitions group in whatever. Okay, and this is because we didn't install React transitions group. So we're going to install it right now. Let's go to the terminal. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to say Control C. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. I ended the one for the JSON server. I'm going to do clear, and we need to install React transitions group. So we're going to say npm install and then React transition, and it's going to be group. There we go, and it's minus minus save. Gonna press enter. It's gonna take a minute. Meanwhile, I'm gonna restart this one. I'm gonna say npm run dev serve, and okay, it's still going. Just give it a minute. Okay, almost done. Sometimes the connection is just a little bit slow. Okay, everything looks done. So I'm gonna do clear, and then I'm gonna do npm start again. So in theory, after it's gonna refresh the server, it's gonna start again inside the local host. It's gonna ask me, yes, of course we want. And okay, we should be getting at least something. Let's see. Okay, so we get the NBA and we get hello. So, okay, that's fine. It means that everything works like it should. So now what we need to do, we need to render, we need to pass some props to this. So what are going to be the props that we're going to be using? We're going to have two main templates. If I go to the final one, we're going to have this template, and inside news, we're going to have this template. So they are different. So again, we're going to be using two different templates. So for the home, I'm going to create a prop that is going to be the type. And for this one, just going to name it card. You can name it whatever you want. So what else? Right here, if we go to the home, we can have a load more. And if I go to news, we're gonna get a load more, but we can skip the usage of load more. We can pass a prop saying that we want to load, or we want to get the button of load more or not. Okay, so I'm gonna say load more is gonna be equal, and in this case, it's gonna be true. Good. What else? We're gonna be fetching something from the database. We're gonna make a request to fetch the news. So again, we're gonna need the amount and the start, so we can set the limit on the request. So I'm going to say start is going to be equal to, I don't know, we're going to start from the number 3, the article number 3, and we're going to stop on the number 3. So basically we are just loading 3 articles starting from 3. So it's going to stop at 6. We're going to do the math inside the component. Okay, so everything looks nice. I'm going to go to news list. And of course, we need to start setting this up. So first, well, we're gonna receive some props. So first, I need to create the states. So whenever we make a request and we bring the articles, we're gonna store everything inside something called items. And this one is gonna be an array. Okay, I'm gonna do comma, and I'm gonna be setting the start, the initial start. If you're passing everything as props, so we're gonna grab this start. Okay. So the start is going to be equals to this.props.start. Then comma, and we're going to need to set the end. So the application is going to make a network request. It's going to start here, and it needs to end someplace. So I'm going to set the end for this. And the end is going to be the sum between the props.start plus the this.props and .amount. Could do this in a different way, but yeah, we're going to do it just like this for the sake of simplicity. So this end is going to be equal to 6 in this case. 3 plus 3 is going to be 6. So the next network request, it's going to start at the article 3, and it's going to stop at the 6. Okay, and right here, I'm going to just set the amount. This.props.amount. Good. So now, what we need to do, we kind of need to create the network request just to check that we are getting everything correctly. So what I want to do it on the component will mount. We're going to change it in a little bit. So I'm going to say component will mount, open and close, and we're going to make this network request. If you remember, we were using Axios. So we're going to say Axios.get, open and close, and then we're going to pass the URL. And right here, we're going to change the things a little bit. If we remember the URL, if you go right here, the URL, it's localhost 3004 and then articles. What happens if this URL changes over time? You're going to need to take a look into all your files and change the localhost 3004 to something else. But what we could do, we can store that value inside config and then just change it in one place. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to config, and I'm going to change this variable. I'm going to create a new variable that is going to be called URL. It's going to be const, and it's going to be URL equal, and in this case, it's going to be equal to whatever we get right here, 3004. I'm going to just copy and then go and paste it. We need to make this variable available, so we need to export it as well. I'm going to say URL. I'm going to go back to the news list, and then right here at the bottom, we're going to be including this URL. So I'm going to say import, just like that, import. I'm going to bring just the URL. And it's going to be from dot forward slash dot forward slash dot forward slash and inside config. So pretty much we are just bringing this URL from within config. I'm going to copy all of this. And if you remember, we have the same thing, the same functionality inside slider.js right here. So we're going to bring that URL from config as well. And right here, I'm going to just replace this for URL. And if I go to our application, we are still getting the slider. So it's still bringing the information. That works. Okay, so I'm going to go back to news list. And inside news list, we need to make the request for this. So I'm going to bring template strings and say URL, just like that, URL. And I'm going to do forward slash, and we're going to need to bring the information from the articles. So it's going to be articles. And then question mark, and we're going to start at some place. And if you remember, the start is going to be inside this that states that start. We're going to be changing this in a little while, but for now I'm going to leave it just like it is. It's going to say this dot state dot, and then it's going to be start. Okay, so then we need the end. We need to specify when the application is going to end fetching articles. So we need to say end is going to be equal to, and this dot state dot end. Okay, that's good. So we are making the request. Everything looks nice. So we need to catch that promise. So we need to say dot then, and we're going to open and close, and we're going to get a response. And from this response, we want to get the data and set a new state. We want to get to store the information that we are getting from this network request inside items. Okay, so I'm going to go right here. I'm going to say this dot set state, open and close, and we're going to be first setting the new state of items. So it's going to be items is going to be equal to something, to a new array. Now the thing is that if we do this, if we just bring the information that we are getting right here, we are overriding always the previous items that we have right here. And if we are creating a load more, you know, whenever you click load more, you want to load 3 more items, but you want to keep the previous ones. So to do this, we're going to do the same thing that we did before with the slider and the config templates that we are doing right here. We are just getting the default values that we add and we modify if they are the same. So we're going to follow the same idea. I'm going to say dot, then this dot state dot items. So if we have items already inside this that state that items, we're going to keep them. I'm going to say comma, and I'm going to bring, and I'm going to just add to this array dot response dot data. Oh, data. There we go. Okay, so that is good. That is good for now. You know, it looks like it's gonna work. So I'm gonna say console log, and I'm gonna console log this dot state dot items, just to make sure that we are getting the data correctly. So if I go to console, first, of course, we get nothing because the main state is gonna be just an empty array. But the second time, we are just getting the 4, 5, and 6. And if you remember, we make the request starting from 3. It's going to be 3, 4, 5 plus 1 because it's an array. Remember, it's an array. and it's going to bring that information, you know, just bring it 4, 5, and 6. So it's kind of working. So let me check the, right now we have 15 minutes. I'm going to stop the video because with Udemy, we cannot upload videos with more of 20 minutes. We cannot do it. So I'm gonna pause. We're gonna stop the video, and we're gonna keep going with this on the next section. Let's keep moving forward.